Hello, Knowledge Symposium conference people. Sadly, I can't be here this evening because I'm out on a little walk. So I thought I'd summarise and send over what I've learnt via this little video. And that way, at least, the coroner's got some information about where I was and what I was doing if I don't finish. I've been learning a little bit about mastery-based learning this week, and it's dawned on me that actually what I'm out here doing is very much a good example of mastery-based learning. So the idea of mastery-based learning is allowing a student to define what they want to learn and something that they might be interested in. But obviously it needs to be measurable and relevant to the core topics of the lesson or class or subject that they're learning as well. So it's probably easier to describe what I'm doing so that you get an idea of what a mastery-based thing might be. So, for example, I'm out at the moment following a little route of a vagabond from 130 years ago. Now, this little mastery-based learning actually goes across quite a few different disciplines. So there's sociology and history and biology. And in setting up and doing this run, I've actually visited the Hertford Museum to actually see some of the artefacts. I've learnt about the legislation in the area for sleeping rough. I've also learnt about some of the laws and also some of the biology to keep me alive out here. So it's kind of multiple discipline little experiment that I've been doing. But it's also something that can actually be assessed quantitatively, because I've put my stake in the ground and said that I'm going to try and follow the entire route. So I have to do the entire mileage, which is 365 miles. And I've also got an assessment score and what's the word I'm looking for? A target for fundraising as well. So I'm looking to meet a fundraising target, and interestingly, one of the factors that are mentioned quite a lot here in mastery-based learning is to assist or work with the community. So fundraising would be a good example of that, or raising the profile of legislative issues or stuff that could go wrong, or things that the local community find challenging. So one of the resources I found really useful was the little 1-minute video as a summary, mainly because the internet signal wasn't brilliant out here, so that worked really well for me. But actually the pros and cons, the benefits are actually quite obvious. So for most students, you've got ultimate engagement. I've gleefully charged around the country doing all sorts of things here. I've gone over to a museum, I've bought a couple of books, I've studied a few things, I've spoken to an expert about bears. I've learnt quite a lot of multiple discipline stuff out here. So it's a really, really useful exercise, but there are some criticisms of this method as well. So for example, I could die, and therefore that hasn't gone brilliantly for me. And from the student's point of view, unfortunately, the way financial aid is structured, you may find that some local authorities really do base funding and finance on sort of seat time rather than learnery mastering time. So this kind of method is an idea to let a student go out there and keep going until they kind of master what they want to do, rather than saying we will spend 6 weeks doing this. So there are some criticism of this. There's some criticisms that some schools are allowing students to do relatively wafty things. So it's quite hard work for a teacher because a lot of the students are off-piste. So for example, here we could have one student learning how to do ballet while I'm out in the middle of the countryside being chased by bears. So for one biology teacher, this is a logistical nightmare to check that all your students are still alive. But I think the benefits are pretty obvious, because I've been excited enough with this little topic of myself to be excited about touching a tramp's clothes. And reading books and media and all sorts of different stuff. So that's kind of pretty much everything I kind of wanted to cover in this. I don't want to go on for too long, but I'm hoping that you guys are having a fantastic Knowledge Symposium Conference 2019. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. If I am currently in the room with you, then obviously this is hugely awkward and something's gone terribly wrong or right. And hopefully my mastery will continue another time. But if I'm not here, then things are going okay. I'm somewhere near you guys at the moment. And I hope that you have a fantastic rest of the conference, a fantastic end of conference party. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there. So have a lovely evening and goodbye to you all. Bye-bye.